It's a great honor today to be in the midst of the teacher who taught me how to examine the cranial nerves, how to take the history. Dr. Manohar said. And a senior in my med school who held my hand and filled my soul with the right advice, right from how to fall in love with a girl. Dr. Shyam, please give a good applause. At the same time, I'm honored to be with the students who took coaching with me for the PG medical entrance among 3 lakh students and became toppers, a nephrologist, Dr. Sai and Dr. Harish. So, and also the August gathering of endocrinologists who are here. So, let me start the reality. The reality today is the practice of medicine is the practice of business of healthcare. We have to agree that as doctors, we are not trained about return on investment, long-term value. We are not taught about patient as a customer, consumer, where we are vulnerable to the legal liabilities. And also, how do we need to be an Instagram influencer to sell ourselves that we are the best, and if we touch the diabetes goes away. So the one who makes all the drama is today a top practitioner. We have to accept the fact that we are no more the so-called the soft, ethically tuned doctors who are like Dalai Lama, very saintful. We are now malignantly marketing ourselves to become that. But are our medical schools preparing the students for the marketing, recruitment, operations, venture capital, fundraising, etc., etc.? Let us examine in this session. So, to start with, I like to ask all of you, what is the biggest lie we tell to the medical students about success? I like to start with Manohar sir.
Thank you, Dr. Murli. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Shyam, who remembered me after 40 years. We lost in touch from KMC. Thank you, Shyam, for giving this opportunity. Now, when you talk about the medical education and the entrepreneurship, the first question, what lie we were doing all these days? I will answer in a different way. So in the next round, maybe in continuation that. The lie, what we answer like, what is the success? Now always when a student joins in medical college, we try to make them a good student, later a good doctor, who is supposed to be good in the subject as well as ethics, and he has to do his job later. But what is the bottom line we were telling? It is a linear thing. So you get gold medal, you get distinctions, and one day you will be success. In terms of now present scenario, that is a lie. So most of the distinction holders of those students, they were not doing well later. Those are mediocre students, they did well. So where is the flaw? So this, in the first round, I'll answer that question.
Thank you for the good words. I don't know whether it's a compliment or you're pulling my leg, I don't know. It was not a lie I was teaching my students. It was the truth in the beginning. Long back, maybe 1-2 decades back, when I was assistant professor, I used to teach my students whether you succeed economically or not, you maybe not be successful in earning money, but you definitely will have a professional satisfaction by choosing medicine. Or you'll be definitely happy, you will get respect. That was my words to my students, even though you don't become rich. But when I was a young practitioner, when I used to go to my clinic, old people, the elderly people, they used to wish me just by bending, but younger people used to get up. But now when I go to my clinic, all elderly people, they get stand up, but the younger people say that, hi doc, how are you? So maybe nowadays the profession maybe not getting you money and also the respect, we are not as respected as in previous days. But still the professional satisfaction, I think it depends upon the person who takes it. It may be lie that this profession will give you professional satisfaction and the respect.
First of all, I would like to thank Shyam sir and also Dr. Murali sir. So let me start off with the answer. So we've been taught and we even associate academic excellence with success. And we spend most of our quality time, work hard, get good grades, and is that you need to learn so that you will be successful wherever you go after your med school.
First of all, I would like to thank Murali sir for inviting me here. I think I'll be going in a non-classical, non-traditional way to answer this question. I think everyone would have heard this thing, you cross this phase, life is beautiful. You just finish your 11th and 12th, then it's going to be very smooth, you just have to clear that. Then when you are in MBBS, you just have to clear the NEET, get a post-graduation seat, then you're happy. In post-graduation, there's another NEET came, that's super specialty. So during all this process of at least 10 to 12 years of your medical education, you would have forgotten about your sports, which are very good in your school. You would have forgotten about the cultural activities, all the extracurricular activities. But then, once you cross all these phases, you realize your non-medical counterparts are like, they would have enjoyed all these parts of the life during this phase. And then when you want to go back and start those things which you have missed all these years, the train is already gone and now you have to start clinical practice. You have to run for the patients and cases. The biggest lie I feel is life is going to be tough in all the phases. And you have to be prepared and don't leave any chance you get to enjoy or live the life.
I think one of the biggest lies that we tell to medical students is we diagnose murmurs with stethoscope. We don't. We discover pneumonia with stethoscope. We don't. We wear apron to be called as doctors. No, we are not wearing aprons anymore. And we also tell the lies that after MBBS, at least somebody will give us a girl to marry, considering our degree. That's the biggest lie. Because if there is no MBBS degree, easy to get married by a prospective father-in-law. Because after MBBS, you are just MBBS. After MD, you are just MD. And we think that all problems are over by doing MD. No, sir. It is the RMP Sinu and PMP Raju who are also giving prednisolone and dexamethasone outside, even for Braxton Hicks contractions also. So that's the reason, that is the biggest lies, in my opinion. But anyway, thank you. And I like to ask Manohar sir, why so many brilliant medical students feel like they are failures? Because if you ask a first-year student, topper in NEET exam, he will tell, what do you want to do? He will say that, I want to be the next Nobel laureate. I want to change the human world. And I want to be the messiah to heal. But in final year, when you ask him, what do you want to do? I'm praying, God, how will I pass my medicine exam? So why do you think many so-called brilliant medical students feel like they are failures?
Yeah, it is true. When they joined in medical school, +2, 10 + 2, they are in a different mindset that we have gone through the exam, board exam, we got 10 by 10 or 9 by 10 like that. So in that euphoria, when they join the medical school, it's a different curriculum. Unfortunately, the present scenario when compared to yours, see, our batch was 6 years course, the university is 5.5, now it is 4.5. So the biggest failure they feel right from the day one, because thanks to all the NMC conducting the examinations and the delayed of admissions, by the time the university exam is fixed in the August month, their duration instead of 12 months, it is 8 to 9 months. So there is a lot of curriculum, short time, new one, which has not taught in the intermediate at all, and they feel so much failure right from the day one. They are not confident. When it goes to the para and pre-clinicals, again the same story. His foundation is not good. The basic sciences, his foundation is not at all good. He could not cope up with the subject in the second phase. That continued till final year. Every time he postpones, maybe I'll do better in the final year. By the time final year comes, again all 6 subjects they have to pass. Same stress and strain. Then his mindset, I have to just pass. Then maybe in the postgraduate I'll improve. No, during postgraduation, I have 8 pages in a year every time they join. They are not confident in treating an acute case in emergency. They cannot just handle the status epilepticus. Again, he thinks that one day I'll do the DM neurology, maybe I'll read thoroughly, I'll treat the cases. So where the flaw is? Is it the medical education? Is the mindset of the students which have not been confident? Is the way of the inefficient teaching? So it's a multiple factors. So the student is facing, apart from this curriculum, the competition. Competition right from the beginning, he enters into the medical school, the competition in his own class now, he compares with his students, sometimes he compares with his seniors or previous students, again he is depressed. Unfortunately, when I was in faculty in KMC, hardly I used to see any patient who was in depression. Here almost 5 to 8% have screened all the students, or they are with the depression in medical college. It's unfortunate. Too much of pressures, too much of ambitions, and this way they feel insecure. Lastly, when they have passed, they did internship, then again need. Always he is not confident. Which subject? When I ask, which subject you want to choose? Is it by chance or it by choice? He is not sure. He thinks about what is the background, the market, who is doing the better. Sir, I'll choose the medical stream, or else I'll go for the surgical stream. So they are not confident. So it is high time. Either all the teachers and seniors, the government policy makers should think that where went wrong. Is the medical education system itself wrong? With reducing the time duration of the course, making them more suffer in the same syllabus? They have to redefine the medical education system at all. Otherwise, this will continue and more insecure graduates will come out from the medical colleges.
Absolutely. So when the students are going for their NEET coaching in 11th and 12th, there will be a teacher who will be on their side and say, देखो बेटा राजू, वो एप्पल देख रहे ना, वो गिर रहे हैं, इसलिए इसको न्यूटन्स फर्स्ट लॉ बोलते हैं. क्यों अफसोस है बेटे? That's what you have the teachers in 11th, 12th. When you enter into medical college, oh no, it's a complete paradigm shift, right? So nobody cares what you are, right? So once upon a time we used to read Davidson. After that somebody said Davidson is too much for medicine. So that's the reason he wrote a short notes on Davidson to pass. After that, another junior came and said, that is too much. It is a short notes to the short notes on the short notes of Davidson. So ultimately only 10 pages you read to get distinction. So that's how our exam passing has become, right? Obviously they are depressed. So that's wonderful. So now I like to ask Shyam. Dr. Shyam is not only a physician, he is also a philosopher. He reads Upanishads, mastered a lot of treatises on Vedas and commentary on the Vedas. So this is an appropriate question for Dr. Shyam. Do you think our medical education system kills creativity? Because medical students are once upon a time known to be the most charismatic guys, right? We only know how to sing, how to dance, how to write a love letter, everything, right? So what happened to all that creativity of that Shakespeare who was there in the first year when they passed to the medical school?
Medical system and creativity, they are absolutely both on the two sides of the spectrum. So we have to see the system. Who is the consumer? The consumer is a medical student. What is the product? The medical education system. Who comes into the medical school nowadays? The person who is afraid of maths. Actually, I represented state Olympiad in national Olympiad exam. And when after finishing my 10th, I asked my neighbor which subject I should take, either MPC or BPC. He told, take BPC. I represented Olympiad in maths. But he told, because I was drawing all pictures on the walls, he thought that because of that, it may help in the botany records and other things. I took the medicine. But nowadays, why people take medicine? The good students nowadays, they don't come into the medical education. Either they go to IITs or they do engineering, and after 4 years they go to US. People whose parents are doctors are people who are afraid of maths. After studying in MPC or BPC in Narayan and Chaitanya, where the structured education, it will kill the creativity. So the people themselves who choose medicine, they are less creative than the other faculty, other specialties like engineering students and art students. Then the medical education system. There's a very little scope in medical education system because the time is short. Within 1 year, you have to read about all muscles, origins, insertions, bones, primary center, secondary center, physiology, biochemistry. So all these subjects he has to finish in 1 year. And the examination system, it doesn't examine how much you learn. So the examination system is only fact-based, how much knowledge you gain, rather than how much analytical power you got from this education. So when the system itself, when the subject itself is less creative, the student who is entering into the medical system, he himself is a less creative person. So you don't expect creativity in medicine.
Thank you, Shyam. Now we talk about entrepreneurship, right? It's correctly spelled? Entrepreneurship. Okay. Because once I was recruiting a student who came from a management school, I asked, I'll give you a job provided you write the correct spelling of entrepreneur. So, yeah. Now my question to Dr. Harish. Right? Dr. Harish is a top-notch surgical gastroenterologist. So every day he takes out the knife. Our SG guys are using knife? I thought only sometimes keyhole, no?
Both sets.
Still, okay. So he not only used the knife in the theater, he also knows how to use the knife in the kitchen. I don't mean that every day he cooks, madam doesn't cook. I don't mean that. So there is a very popular, only vegetarian restaurant called Itlu in Hyderabad, Jubilee Hills. All of you can come to the Itlu restaurant and you can tell I met Harish and it's a free meal right there. So now the question is, why are the doctors afraid of calling themselves as anything other than doctors? That is, entrepreneurs. Why they are afraid to be called as entrepreneurs and they only like to be called as doctors? Yes.
So this same question came in my mind a couple of years back when we are entering this food and beverages industry. So it was a discussion like within our family, like whether I should be entering the business. There's no one from our family from with a business background. It was a friend who suggested that you should be entering business because back in 2019 when I was doing my MBBS and post graduation, I used to be a food blogger. So then when my friend is going into this F&B, he wanted me to be the part of that the parent company. So when I had this question in my mind, like why I shouldn't be called as entrepreneur, uh, uh, the traditional way of thinking what a doctor is. When you think about doctor, the first thing that comes to your mind is empathy, humility, service, and being a God complex. But on the other side, when you talk about the business and you talk about the profit, loss, benefit, the money. So I was very much confused, like, should I be actually entering into the business side? Or should I plan an alternative source of saving or diversifying my finances? Then I had this clarity in my mind. I'm a businessman outside my hospital. When I'm in hospital, I'll be treating my patients. And even now, even though I work in a corporate, when it comes to the finances, I'll tell directly to the patient. Finances, you'll be talking with the management, not with me. If you ask me what is the best treatment, I can suggest you the best treatment. I'll be doing the best as a surgeon what I can do to my patient. And being a surgeon, it's not the surgery I do always. Because I believe in the one basic line which my professor taught me. When you are operating, you are giving a scar to the patient. And let the scar be worth it. So when you go by these lines, I separate myself. I live two lives. When I'm attending a business meeting in my company, I'll be a completely different person. And when I'm being in a hospital as a surgical gastroenterologist, I'll be completely a different person. So maybe the one reason why I'm scared at the beginning is like, I don't want my name to be associated with some company so that my patient will think he's a businessman, he'll be thinking about the money. So I have separated my life completely. My business is not on my name or like, I've been part of that business holding a major share, but the name of the company is a Feel Good company. It is owned by 5 friends from school. And I don't talk about my business or my company in my hospital premises. And I make sure my patients are aware that Dr. Harish Gautam is a surgical gastroenterologist and nothing more than that. You can just diversify yourself. You can live 2 ways to make sure that the conflict of interest is being answered.
In that, why medical students are not entrepreneurs? It is personal. How the individual forms his future and he thinks of it. The best entrepreneurs are here, right from Shyam, Murli, Harish, Sai, and etc. See, these were the students 30 years back. The same stream of students. I have seen nearly 4,000 students in KMC who was passed through medicine, whom I was taught. We never introduced the leadership qualities in the medical schools. Or forget about the leadership. Even when we are presenting or when they are presenting, there are no interactive sessions. Hardly they feel shy to ask a question. So this timidness goes only limited to their subject, nothing else. So it is individual, the personality development that you choose the entrepreneurship. But present scenario, we require this quality is essential to practice nowadays because of the high technology you have to use You have to well verse with that. So it should be the more communicative, his attitude towards the developments. He has to learn the entrepreneur qualities. Maybe after MBBS, let him choose for the business schools, one of the MBAs or technology courses. But this is a must for the future medicine.
My next question to Dr. Sai. Sai is a wonderful nephrologist in America, and it's very boring to do dialysis every day. Am I right, Sai? Yeah? Because the same AV fistula, same dialysis, same sad story, nobody ready to give the kidney. So then Sai one day decided that, let me do something big, right? So he built a platform which is very popular in America that will basically conduct the virtual conferences. One advantage of virtual conferences is we don't eat pro-diabetic food in the conference after talking everything about how to prevent diabetes, right? So that is one advantage of attending. At the same time, we get the CME points. So that's what he built, and it is very popularly followed by a lot of conferences every day. So Sai, what we need to unlearn from what we, if at all we learn anything in medical school, unlearn to become a successful entrepreneur. At least we will learn an attitude by going to medical school, right? We think that we are the most brilliant, we only can be able to do, no one in the world is as good as us, no one is hardworking, all that, like Adolf Hitler, European race is the only race, German race is like that. So what do we need to unlearn in our attitude to humble down from the academic heights of being a doctor to become a hardworking entrepreneur?
So yeah, I would say two things, rules and risks. So we've been taught to follow rules and mitigate the risks. And even when we take care of patients, we try to identify risk factors and try to prevent or mitigate it. And the biggest thing to unlearn is, as an entrepreneur, you need to break some rules and you need to take some risks. So that's the major factors in deciding to be a clinician and plus entrepreneur. So that will be my shortest answer.
Great. Thank you, Sai. Now, once more to Manohar sir. Let us assume sir is director of Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences for almost a decade. And now sir is the dean and of Apollo Medical College. So, sir, if you were redesigning the medical education from scratch, let's assume, right? So what is the first thing that you love to throw away?
Yeah, it's a big question, but I'll try to do justice. There should be a big change in the medical education system. Redesigning in the sense, initially I was sharing with you the duration of the course and the burden, curriculum, and the competencies, and the competence the later he is facing should be redesigned. First of all, the teaching qualities. It should be an efficient teaching to drive the message, what is the basic need for the society and where he has to build up his career. For which the curriculum has to be changed. Hitherto all unnecessary syllabus was there, right from page 1 to end of the Davidson, Harrison, whatever textbook you say. It is not at all necessary for all those things. What is our needs to serve the population it needs? So first thing, redefining the syllabus. Number 2, the worst system is assessment. It is a rotten system. What is the assessment? He writes some theory questions, some essay, some short notes. The assessment is totally wrong. So redefining for the betterment, there are two things. First, the quality of education. Second, the assessment has to be done in a proper way. Third, what should be driven to them? Think of what are the problems. So education should be oriented towards the case-based discussions, more of small group discussions, or problem-oriented discussions. Then the problem has to be understood properly, not on the mugging type that what they are doing now. Reading those, I'm sorry to say that most of the students, they are reading only guides. They do not know the names of textbook authors. So that is the now present scenario. So if the chance is there, we have represented to the NMC when the curriculum is being changed. Now it is CBME, curriculum based or competency based medical education. I hope partly it is changed for the betterment. If it is strictly compliant to each medical college, the quality of medical students after 4 or 5 years will be definitely improved. So if chance is given, first we have to the proper assessment, proper syllabus has to be given for that. The types of teaching should be case-oriented, patient-oriented, and problem-oriented, rather than just a theoretical lecture gallery where they could not understand anything. When I was taking theory classes, I questioned myself, what did I learn in Usmania Medical College for those 5 years? I recalled. None of the lectures I never recalled. But if you have a short group, then give a problem and make them understand, thorough reading, then the quality might improve it. So too many things can be taught in the redefining the medical education. So we hope for the better.
Rightly said, Manoj sir. In fact, today in the ward rounds as a professor of medicine, if I ask the students, hey, what's the Glasgow Coma Scale? What's that? Glasgow or Ireland? The student will say, no, Glasgow Coma Scale. Earlier days, we used to all carry Harrison and all that, like preterm babies carried by the mother who delivered, right? Nowadays, nobody is carrying. Okay, prof, no problem. Don't lose your cool, okay? Tuck, 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 tuck. ChatGPT will tell what is Glasgow Coma Scale. Why do we need to bloody remember eye-opening is how much and all, blah, blah, blah. So there is a paradigm shift. Then today you ask ChatGPT, the patient is of this age and this is abdominal pain. What shall I ask next? It will tell, ask which quadrant. Okay, which quadrant? Yeah, next what? It will only guide. So the other day I went to Dr. Shyam's clinic in Idea Clinic I really fascinated by the way he's taking care of patients, you know. A lady asked, sir, what should be my ideal weight and what should I eat? Oh, is it? He opened the ChatGPT and said, what is your weight? Oh, okay. What's you want? All right. You only read? So ChatGPT is explaining everything. Okay, for your weight, this is the ideal, for your height, this is the ideal weight. So today, information is all not a big deal. It's not the mastery of information, right? It's all the nautanki of how the art of medicine is practiced on how we empathize and how we talk. So that's the reason, definitely we require a huge paradigm shift because we are in the crossroads of the generation. And today, students are not reading books at all. Their Gen Z is all about watching and learning rather than reading, right? They're watching Instagram, they're watching YouTube. How do you ask them to read Harrison and Davidson? That's impossible. Oh man, that drains, right? So shortly, AI should be introduced, computing should be introduced right in the class 6 they are going to introduce. They should also introduce in med school. And also they should introduce marketing, management and all these subjects instead of will superior gluteal nerve or inferior gluteal nerve, which nerve is supplying, which gluteus medius is available on the ChatGPT, no point in mugging them, right? So that's a modification, that's great. Now, I love to ask Shyam Sundar sir, what is the one skill not taught in medical school among many things that are not taught? Can you be able to tell more, and which is most critical today?
At least I'll take two. So, in my clinic, half of the patients who comes to me, they come from going to a gynecologist, and they come to me and ask, sir, she is writing LSCS to be done. Shall we do it or not? And she's advising this treatment. Shall we take it or not? And they go to most famous cardiologist in city. He advises CT, CAG, or conventional CAG. They come to me and ask, sir, shall we do, is it right? Because they don't nowadays believe doctors. They think that we write unnecessary tests, unnecessary medications. So one is a communication skill. Maybe in the medical schools, maybe we are teaching the subject, but we don't teach them the communication skills, how they should talk to the patients and how they convince patients regarding anything. One is that, and second thing is documentation. Many times, a patient bring the other doctor's prescriptions. One, it is very difficult to read, and second thing, apart from investigations and treatment, there's nothing is written on the case sheet, prescription. So documentation is important. Luckily, still, most of our patients are not really bothered about it. But if a prescription taken to a consumer's court or anywhere, writing too much of details is also sometimes problematic to you, because it is very difficult to prove your points written in the prescription. But documentation is important. So documentation of writing a case sheet or a prescription is also maybe one of the things we have to teach the students. So communication skills and documentation, these are the two things I think.
Yes. Absolutely,
So
Dr. Shyam.
Sir wanted to.
What is not taught is, what we taught was, it was meaningless, honestly speaking. What is given in a textbook, we used to prepare and spell out in the 1 hour lecture. But of late I realized that, for example, I just give you an example. See, instead of in the questions when we are assessing the student, he will say what all metabolism of carbohydrate, all steps he will tell, Cori cycle he will tell. But one question you ask, what is the role of this Cori cycle application in a diabetic ketoacidosis or during fasting? This application is not using his brain, neither we are giving a clue that this should be applied, whatever you have learned. This is the basic thing I realized after so many years.
Thank you, sir. In fact, at 40, I stopped practicing. For 10 years, I enjoyed a holiday of entrepreneurship, starting the startups and then technology. I'm hands-on coding in Java, Spring Boot, and Python, Node.js, and all. Then at 50, I once more, by a promise I made to myself, I got back into clinical practice. So I went to Dr. Shyam to do observership for a while, because almost 10 years as a physician, I stopped practice. Then I learned on the first one. I'm a very fast learner. In first 1 week, Shyam taught me the clinical medicine. You know what he taught me? There are two kinds of patients. Patients who want to be evaluated, patients who don't want to be evaluated. And it's your job to evaluate that in the first 5 seconds when the patient comes to an encounter, right? Second, there are patients who have a complete disrespect and no trust at all on the doctors, or the other group are borderline personalities. That is, they will think you are God. You have the healing touch. You will touch and all HbA1c will become 12 to 6, right? So, to assess the emotional and economic ability of a patient to comply with the therapy is in the first 10 seconds, the one who makes an assessment right, is a good clinician. That's what I learned by doing apprenticeship with Dr. Sham. So I think these are those finest skills that are the ones which are needed to be taught for a student to learn more than knowledge. So now, I like to ask Dr. Sai Prasad, what is the boldest risk? You're a nephrologist. That in America, nephrologist means at least $500,000, right? Which is about 4 crores of annual revenue. From there, you said goodbye to that and took a decision, let me start a startup, let me try entrepreneurship. So I love to ask you, is it the first time you took such a risk, or you had been risk-taking right from the MBBS first year? Let me try marijuana one day, that kind of risk also. I would like to know, yeah?
So I think you have answered most of my question. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a person who likes to take some risks. So that helped, actually. But if you sit back and think about it, so you spent something about 15 years to work hard and achieve something you've been dreaming of and you dreamt of. And when you feel like you finally arrived, and then you completely stop or even pause of what you have achieved and start all over again on something that doesn't exist. Like during the journey, you see some things, and one of the major issues in healthcare is healthcare accessibility. So to build a platform where that can improve specialty care, accessibility to people, and start from the scratch, you don't know what's going to happen, is the boldest and terrifying risk, actually.
Last question before we go to concluding question to Dr. Harish. There are two kinds, the one who track the path which is being laid, and the others who will take up the paths which are other than a standard path. Have you ever felt yourself betrayed yourself by following the rule book because your dad asked to become a doctor, and the fiancé asked to become surgeon, and somebody else asked you to become, maybe sometimes you might have been inspired also, right? So have you felt betrayed by following the rules? Because becoming surgical gastroenterologist is like becoming president of Bolivia. I mean, you need to cross so many stages of bloodless coup and finally become that, right? So that means so many hours you might have given up studying MCQs, remembering the high yield facts, then spending time in the operation theater while your fiancé is waiting at a candlelit party on the pool side, waiting that you will come and slip the ring. You might have made a lot of sacrifices, right? So have you felt betrayed that, following all these rules when my friends are all enjoying the nuptial evening, I'm being stuck up inside the operation theater? What do you...
My ex-girlfriend. I was getting pediatrics, that's my branch of choice in APPG. It was APPG at that time, not NEET actually. And I was given a JIPMER exam. She was like, no, you take in JIPMER. It gives like, you are from National Institute. I'll talk with my parents that you are. So that's the reason I took surgery, which is like 3rd or 4th in my list. And I felt betrayed like after following the traditional path most of the times. When I was in that phase, that particular phase. But down the lane over 5 to 10 years, I'm really glad that I followed the rules. That taught me the discipline, sir, actually. So once you know, when you go by the rule book, even though you feel betrayed at times, at the end of the day, you will be reaching your end path safe. It may take some time, but you'll just reach the end path safe. But then again, I learned after reaching the place where I thought, okay, this is the time I can actually break the rules. I started tweaking the rules. That is how I entered the entrepreneurship. So following the rules taught me the discipline, and now I'm breaking the rules in a disciplined manner.
Thank you, Dr. Harish. One question I like to ask all of you is, of course, there are many patients who changed our life. Definitely for very senior Professor Manohar sir. So can you please tell us about one patient who changed your life and how that shaped your choices? I like to ask that question to all of you.
I think they have given a bell, we have crossed the time, but I'll take 2 minutes. It was 66, 67 when I was in 5th class. The school headmaster was my father. He was very strict. Then there was a prayer session before we start the classes. All classes, 4th, 5th, 6th, like that, in line. So my junior class, when they were going, there are 2 boys. So people used to make fun of them. They used to push them. They fall on the ground. They were very difficult to get up from the ground. I was fabulous. Then one of my classmates asked me, Manohar, why don't you read, since you are first in the class, become a doctor and see that these fellows are treated properly. Then I was struggling to know what it is. So during my pediatrics posting, I came to know that is DMD. And that changed my decision in the 5th class to become the medical doctor. And the same thing, it was haunting me. And during my stay in NIMS, we started the genetic lab, a big project on how to go with the CRISPR technology, single gene therapy. We were doing on thalassemia, but later one group came and said we will work out in DMD, and that work is progressing on.
Wonderful, sir. And one patient, I'll tell you, I was a MD general medicine resident in first year. I used to be most difficult resident to make work for my professors, because if they discover 100 ways to make me work, I used to discover 101 ways to escape, right? So once I was writing the discharge summary, so suddenly one professor of, he is a professor of Urdu University. Doctor Sahab, aap kya kiya? Ye sahi nahi hai, he said. What did I do? I asked. So he gave, mere BB ka HbA1c value aap wrong likha. Oh, is it? Sorry, fasting blood sugar value. Is it? How much did I write? I said. It was a post-duty time. Aap 127 likha. Oh, is it? But what is the actual value? I asked. He said 128. I said, sir, there are 20 patients I need to write the discharge, and I am the laziest bug, most intellectual but laziest bug, who is crying and writing it like a postpartum hemorrhagic lady, right? Is 127, 128, is any difference, I asked. Then that professor of Dr. Qureshi was his name. He said, the wind blows on account of truth. The sun shines on account of truth. Because the truth is the Almighty Allah. How will the wind blow? That is only because of the truth. And what you have written is not truth. If what you have written is not truth, how can you be diagnosing the truth, what is happening in the patient? We say that the patient is having enteric fever based on Vidal. But how sure we are that it is the enteric fever? So what is the truth? Is the question. That totally changed me. From then onwards, I stopped giving a false gospel to the patient, saying that it doesn't make any difference at all. For the patient, it makes the difference, right? So that's what I always remember, sir. So the truth is what we need to discover in the history and everything, in our intuition and all. So finally, I love to ask a question to all of you, that we all leave legacy on this planet. What is the purpose? After we die, even that day evening also, nobody will remember. Except they put one photograph, and after, within another, maximum 1 week, if you are a very popular guy with lot of debts, if we have debts, people remember much better, because without paying debts, we died, right? So, what is the legacy do you want to be remembered for and to be written on the tombstone? Is it a title or a company or a change that you created? What should be the last moment legacy you want to leave, sir? I like to ask all of you.
One word, a change for better. One word, a change is required for better.
Great. It's a change.
So I would say I want to build something basic like a model to bridge the gap of healthcare access, so that the coming generations, the future generations, can build a better and bigger model than that. And if they tell us that, yeah, we know that, and we have a better model to do this, then I've done my job.
But from practicing evidence-based, I just want to remember me for something very innovative, not just being an evidence-based practitioner, be it in the lines of medical education or in the other fields too. And I just want to remember when when they smile rather than when they're in pain.
Thank you for the patient listening, and I would like to ask among the audience to talk on the final comments on entrepreneurship and medical education, please. Yes.
It's very nice, sir. Thank you very much. What I noticed is better educate the students about the stress management, and after becoming a graduate or postgraduate, regarding the financial management also, a part of the medical education from MBBS. How to, many practical points already, you people being seniors, you have discussed. Only 2 points, stress management for the medical students or PGs, whatever may be work pressure or personal family problems or whatever may be. Because being the busiest persons, medicos or doctors, our profession is busiest one, we have to manage everything. And if we are balanced in both personal life and professional life, stress management is the first one to be taught in undergraduation. That's what I feel. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. It was really excellent, the panel discussion. Very fortunate to be in this session. I'm myself Dr. Mohammed Sarosh, Professor of Community Medicine. Deccan College of Medical Science. So the need I experience is need for mentors, ideal mentors like you all on the stage. We would like to have mentors like you. So for me, what learning would be to be an ideal mentor for my mentees. That is how medical education and internship, entrepreneurship would be cascaded to our students. Thank you, sir.
For these comments and suggestions, Madam, there is in the curriculum, the stress management is introduced to the undergraduates from NMC, and every year we conduct the yoga classes, and also there will be sessions for stress-free management. 4 hours have been allotted for that. The second, mentorship, right from the first day 1 in the medical college, every phase, each faculty, 5 students have been given for the mentor-menteeship. So I have been allotted 5 students. They are followed from the first year till they have to pass. Suppose if I am there in the service for next 2 years, I'll be following this. So one more I would like to share with the quality of education which we have introduced with previously medical school research is dismal. I have introduced the research for the first year students to take up the proposal. They have to write with the mentor and they will help you. In the second year, they have to do the methodology, and third year, they have to submit the paper. So make them inculcate in the medical school that research is a part of in their life. Secondly, the applications. What I was telling an example that we tell only theory, but true translation to the clinical side or wherever they are practicing, the applications have been also taught. So stress management, so that no doctor should be suffered with the burnt out disease. So many of us, we have conducted a burnout session for all the doctors. We neglect our health, including me. I have undergone CIBG after so much of stress in the previous posting. See, it is true that we do neglect our health. So it is a high time all of us in the 24 hours, allot 1 or 2 hours for your own health. If you are good, you can discharge the service bed in a better way. So thanks for this opportunity. Thank you very much.